Hey Group Life, I want to talk to you guys about having communion with your group experience. Okay, I know this is a little different. You're used to only having it at the church services, but we really are thinking as we try to wrap our mind around what Jesus was doing with communion. I think what he's really was trying to tell us is that this is something where we, as we gather in his name, and that we just discover that God is present with us. So, oftentimes it has become too much of a ritual. Rituals are important. The church creates rituals because it doesn't want us to lose hold of things that are really important. And, I think that's happened to communion. But the problem is sometimes in those rituals just become important only for themselves, and we really forget why we're doing them. And when Jesus shared that meal with his disciples, I think what he was really trying to tell us is that when we gather around bread, when we gather around food, when we gather around brownies or beer or brats or whatever, and we know that God is present with us and we call God's presence into that moment, that's a sacred time. And that's what he really wants us to be about. He wants us to be experiencing this whenever we gather around these things that we put at our table, to be family, to be one with each other. He wants us to realize God's presence at those times. So this is what we are doing. Many of you maybe got a loaf or a little bun of bread from our service on Sunday. If you didn't, that really doesn't matter. But share that with each other, and don't just make it a big ritual in your group life. Maybe just do it at the beginning and continue to let that meal be a part of your whole experience. And don't worry about what you're supposed to say or what the food is, or if you didn't get that bread and you're using something else or using licorice, I think God can use that as well. Because of the reminders. Let this be a reminder that God is present with you at that time. I don't know how it's going to function. We'd like you to be co-conspirators with us on this little journey of discovery of figuring out what does communion really mean to us and how is God really present. So do that. But I can imagine you share some of that bread or whatever it is and some wine or water or Pepsi, doesn't matter, but you share it at the beginning of the service and then or at the beginning of your gathering, and then something really special happens. Maybe someone shares something that's really deep and helpful or meaningful to you, and after that you really kind of at a loss of what to say other than maybe pass that bread around one more time. I think God's with us right now. That could be a great cue to help us remember and to claim God's presence with us. So try this out, see what works, see what doesn't work, share your stories, share your examples, and let's be on this journey of discovery together. Thanks a lot.